The criminal trial against Alec Baldwin will move forward next month after a New Mexico judge refused to dismiss his indictment. The actor's legal team asked the court to throw out his case by claiming the gun used in the shooting death of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins was destroyed during the FBI's forensic testing. And it comes as attorneys for Rust armorer Halyna Gutierrez-Reed claim in a new filing that the state withheld evidence that would have helped her case. And now she wants to be released from prison. For more a legal perspective now, I'm joined by trial attorney Misty Marris. Misty, great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Fred.
All right, so help explain, why the defense's claim about the gun and forensic testing just, really needs to matter.
Absolutely. So this was a central issue in the case. Of course, the gun, the most important piece of evidence as it relates to Alec Baldwin. We know his defense is that he never pulled the trigger. So he had made several bids to get his case dismissed. We know this. We've seen motion after motion. But this particular motion to dismiss the case because during the FBI testing, so this is testing done on behalf of the prosecution, the gun was actually destroyed. So the defense argument is that they were deprived of having the ability to conduct their own independent forensic testing on that gun. And because of that, the whole case should be dismissed. Now, the judge did not agree, but those will be central issues. Questioning that testing, cross-examination, and those issues will come out to undercut that expert report during the trial.
Is that unusual for a important piece of evidence such as a gun that had to be evaluated by, the prosecution's team, the FBI, that it would be damaged in that process?
It is unusual, and that's why the defense was so focused on it. It was especially unusual because there were certain markings on the gun that were discovered later. And this is going to relate to the argument by Halyna Gutierrez-Reed as well. But the defense did not have the opportunity to actually do their own testing. So, Fred, in this case, with a piece of equipment like this, a gun that was used on the set, this prop gun, for it to be damaged during testing, the defense argued that that was incredibly negligent because they knew that if they did this certain type of test, the gun would be destroyed. They should not have done it. Now, you see testing destroy evidence. It happens a lot with DNA because maybe there's not enough to actually test it. So that's where you actually see that type of very critical evidence not being available for the defense. But something like this, it is quite unusual.
All right. And Baldwin's team also filed a separate motion to dismiss the indictment, claiming prosecutors failed to properly turn over evidence required by court procedure. The judge has not indicated whether she will entertain the new motion before the start of trial. So how likely is Baldwin's case to be potentially dismissed before next month?
I think it's very unlikely for it to be dismissed, but there could be other benefits to filing this motion, which could lead to some of the prosecution's case and the evidence being precluded, meaning the jury will not see it. So this is actually what Halyna Gutierrez-Reed is also arguing. The testing on that gun, there's always a report when forensic testing is done. So a report was turned over, and that's the report that we've all heard about for months and months and months, that the gun could not have fired unless the trigger was pulled. Well, in the past month, Fred, and we're talking about really running up to this trial, the defense discovered that there were actually two other supplemental reports that were also created by the expert. They were never turned over. One of them identified tool markings on the sear of the gun. That's the part that holds the hammer back. So it's very important to the defense case. That report was not turned over. They just found out about it. So their argument is going to be that the gun could have been manipulated, that they didn't have any opportunity to actually do their own review. Halyna Gutierrez-Reed is making the same argument. Her trial is over. She never had those reports. So all of that is going to go into her appellate case. And for Alec Baldwin, I don't think it's going to get the case dismissed. Seems like we're full speed ahead. But you could see a world where the prosecutors cannot actually use some of that evidence against him in court.
Wow, very fascinating, very complex. This case has become even more complex. All right, Misty Marris, thank you so much.